It's not what I expected to happen, but it's something that's the reality now. All right, so a lot to unpack there.
A lot to unpack.
RC,
Wow.
I'll start there. I mean, this is one of those quotes that, this could generate a lot of conversation and headlines throughout the next handful of days here during a quiet part of the NFL calendar. What did you make of that quote from Davante Adams?
I think we all have to remember that Davante Adams chose the Las Vegas Raiders in part because of his friend Derek Carr, who was the quarterback at the time, and that relationship that they both shared going back to college at Fresno State. And when we're being truthful, when he left, many thought that Davante Adams would be encouraging his team to go out and get Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers chose the Jets. That was where Aaron Rodgers wanted to be. So they have now settled with Jimmy Garoppolo. There were some draft picks, or there were some guys in the draft that could have been incumbent rookies that had an opportunity to start at quarterback that Davante Adams may have felt have been more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think you have to ask yourself this question. Do we believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is more talented than Derek Carr? I believe, at least to me, he is not. He doesn't have the arm strength. He doesn't have the mobility, and he doesn't have the availability. And we all already know that he doesn't have the relationship with Davante Adams that Derek Carr did. Davante Adams has accomplished anything and everything you can do individually from the position. What he doesn't have is a championship. And as we continue to talk and as we continue to become closer, I know that winning a championship is what's left for him. Winning a championship is what he's playing for. And I don't believe he thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo, and this is not Davante talking, this is me talking, I don't think he believes that Jimmy Garoppolo gives him the best chance to do that right now.
Like, RC, it's like when you say, okay, who all's going to be there, right, before you go to the function, and you show up.
That means I don't want to go.
And
I don't want to go.
And none of the people that you were told were going to be there are there, and now it's a whole bunch of different people, and you're like, why am I here? Like, that's what it feels like, and that's why I feel like the quote is so troubling, because this was supposed to work for Davante. Like, all the pieces were in place, that roster, the QB, the friendship, the money, all that. And now a year later, and it's Jimmy Garoppolo. And now Davante's not the one saying anything specifically about Jimmy Garoppolo, but we can all read between the lines. The fact that we can't say that Jimmy is a clear upgrade over Derek Carr, if you're Davante looking at this situation and all you want to do is win, and you see the rest of the division is still there, Patrick Mahomes is still there, the Broncos hopefully are improved, you're looking around like, what are we doing? Are we really trying to win? And he's somebody who says the QB doesn't matter, I'm that dude. But the QB is the one throwing him the ball.
Kimberley, I get it. Like, they told me that Marcus was going to be on NFL Live today, and I see Ryan. I'm like, hey, it's what it is, okay? We'll see eye to eye.
You got to go to work.
I guess I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to do the best I can. Here I am. This is what I'm going to do. Look, wow. Hey, in all seriousness, I do think what part of what's going to happen, like the relationship of this. Like, we heard Davante talk quite a bit about his relationship with Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers said a lot about, look, he's the best player I've ever played with. And Ryan documented, had all the data points about, like, look, why Las Vegas made sense for Davante. That was the landing spot, with somebody he trusted, he wanted to play with. Like, that matters. And now all of a sudden, you're like, wait a second, I'm here with neither of the guys that I wanted to play with.
I think the harder part of it is this, though, and Kimberly's talking about the party. Most of the time, if I ask you who's going to be there, I'm already planning on not going.
Right.
I'm just waiting for you to be like, hey, Tim's going to be here. And I'll be like, I'm cool. I ain't going to make it. But when you're Davante Adams and you understand that, yes, you can find ways to compile stats. You can find ways to have success with anyone playing the quarterback position. That doesn't mean that guy's the right quarterback to lead your team. It doesn't mean that guy's the right guy to have your locker room where you want it to be, or to be able to produce in the clutch moments on Sundays and Mondays and Thursday. And when you think about Jimmy Garoppolo throughout his career, the biggest thing about him is he just hasn't been available. Now, we saw Jarrett Stidham play toward the end of last season, and he found some success, especially with Davante Adams. But is he the guy that we believe can help them compete against the Patrick Mahomes, compete against the Justin Herberts, and that's just in their division. And if Russell Wilson ever finds old Russell Wilson, him as well in Denver, I just think that Davante Adams understands that this isn't a team constructed right now to win a championship. And as he is getting older, as he is getting more experienced, he also starts to be aware that his football mortality is becoming more and more of a reality.
And as you get older, you become more vocal about the frustration because you realize you do not have time to fool around. You need to, the window is closing, and Davante understands that. And the fact that the Raiders, you don't know where to place them. You have no idea what this team is going to be with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, if his window is closing, we need Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow window ain't never closed.
Never closes, RC. But I don't think it should be
it's
lost.
Always open.
It's always open. I don't think it should be lost in this conversation that last year when the Raiders traded the second-round pick for Davante Adams, they also signed Chandler Jones to big money in free agency. They committed an extension to both Derek Carr and Max Crosby. A spending spree to go all in last year was followed by an offseason this year in which the front office talked about how it was a transition phase and how we need to kind of restock the youth pipeline here in Las Vegas. It's a very different message in the span of just 1 year. And if you're a guy at Davante's age with his stature, you're probably not thrilled about the idea of taking a step backwards to eventually take a step forwards, especially when you look around the division and you see Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. What guarantee is there to ever move forward in that division over the next few years? A lot to unpack. I'm sure we'll talk about it a whole lot more. Davante Adams, a great profile, by the way, to read on The Ringer.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.